Good evening. I want to thank everyone for coming out here this evening to talk about something that's extremely serious. As we know, the bus that sits behind us is a bus that the campaign uses to transport workers, seniors to senior events, almost every single day. This bus was not just vandalized, it was burned, gasoline was thrown on the bus, and sugar was put in the tank. Because of the hard and tremendous work of the Essex County Prosecutor's Office, the Newark Police, and the Fire Department, they were able to bring some suspects to justice. There is one gentleman who is on the run who has been identified as the person who actually burned the bus and put sugar in the gas tank. There's also another gentleman who drove the van at the time, and his name is Sharif Nash. Sharif Nash is a worker for the Shavar Jeffries for mayor campaign. He, at the last filing date, received $4,346.89 as an employee of Jeffries for mayor campaign. Not only that, Sharif Nash owns the Prestige Management where the van was registered. The address where the van is registered is 660 Stuyvesant Avenue. 660 Stuyvesant Avenue is the office of the campaign manager of Shavar Jeffries, Carl Sharif. This is extremely problematic for this city. It's extremely problematic for the way Newark is viewed and for elections moving forward. The Jeffries campaign called for federal monitors. We agree. We also call for federal monitors, but we think they should be monitoring him and the activities that are happening over there that are non-democratic and just straight out thuggery that's happening out of that campaign. We need federal monitors immediately, not just to monitor the South, Central, and West Ward as was explained by them, but we need them to monitor the entire city. Not only have they bombed our bus, they have people that are on the election commission now who are employees of the county government who came out and endorsed the other candidacy, who also are chairmen of county committee organizations in the city. This kind of collusion is something that the city is fighting against, something that our campaign is vehemently opposed against, and is why we're running in the first place, to begin to bring power and control back to the people of this city. It is a bottom-up campaign and not a top-down campaign. That's why I say when I become mayor, we become mayor, because the important thing about that is it's time to empower Newarkers again, and this kind of heavy-handed tactics that are going on in this campaign needs to not only be exposed, it needs to be stopped, and we applaud the law enforcement agencies once again, and we call for all parties involved to turn themselves into the Essex County Prosecutor's Office and let us all in Newark put this to rest. I'll answer any questions.
Are there any questions at this time?
Are you disappointed in these kind of actions? I mean, because does this get away from the issues that are there? I mean, does it?
I'm absolutely disappointed by what happened. It absolutely takes us away from the real issues of this campaign. They have been trying to paint our campaign in one way, and they have actually been the aggressors from the very beginning. This is, it puts a damper on what Newark politics is about. Newark residents are not about this. This is not what they want or what they support. They are completely interested in the issues that are at hand here, issues of public safety, issues of jobs and employment, issues of school closures, economic development. These are all things that Newarkers are concerned about, and I'm sure that they are completely disappointed that they would try to burn the bus as a means to win this election.
You mentioned that people involved were with the other campaign. Is the prosecutor's office looking at the guy that you're running against and to see if he orchestrated this in some way, or is he?
Well, I don't know what the prosecutor's office is doing. I do know, however, that they are. There's a steady investigation going on now, and Sharif Nash is a part of that investigation.
Has he been cleared?
Well, he hasn't been charged yet. He hasn't been cleared, but he has not been charged yet. He obviously drove the van. The van belongs to him. The van is in his company's name. When it was pulled over, he was driving the van, and he is an employee of the Jeffries campaign. He is on their elect report. He received almost $5,000 to date that we know about. And the van is registered at the address of the campaign manager of the Jeffries campaign. So I don't know how they can get away from this at all. I would ask Mayor Jeffries, the Attorney General, to come out and admonish these kinds of actions right away and bring these people to justice. If they're with him, he should disassociate himself from them, and he should tell them to turn themselves in so that they can be handed over to the law, and then we can put this behind us.
What does it say about your opponent?
Well, I don't know. It says something specifically about the people that are in his candidacy, that are people that are his campaign manager, his campaign workers. This idea of them crying wolf while being the culprits at the very beginning. They put out this thing that maybe we burned the bus ourselves, which is not only insulting, but it was a lie. They tried to throw the rock and hide their hand, and this kind of leadership is not the leadership that we need in this city at all.
That's right. Yes, sir.
We need leadership that's going to break up these bosses, break up this kind of old politics. They've been crying about old politics. They have did the old tactics of putting sugar in people's tank. I don't know if that's been done in the last 15 years. Putting sugar in people's tanks, throwing gasoline on the bus. But more importantly, the bus was right here when the gasoline was thrown on it. So if the bus would have exploded, all of these people's lives in this building would have been in danger. If there were people in this office, their lives would have been in danger. People who live in this community who are walking back and forth. In fact, the person that threw the gasoline put his own life in danger, right? And right now, the police are looking for him. So we're pleading with him to turn himself in.
Mr. Baraka, are you asserting that Mr. Nash and the alleged arson perpetrator are directly tied to the Jeffries campaign?
Well, I'm not asserting that. That's what this says. This is a fact. Sharif Nash is on the elect report. He to date has received $4,346.89 from Shavar Jeffries' elect report. This is not an assertion by me. This is a fact. He works for Shavar Jeffries. And not only that, that same van was caught later on pulling down signs. And they have another police report of Sharif Nash and two other gentlemen who were arrested for pulling down campaign posters. So they are directly related to this. And not only are they directly related, as I said earlier, if you look at the registration where the car is registered to, the address on the registration is 660 Stuyvesant Avenue. And we know who resides, whose offices are at 660 Stuyvesant Avenue. That is Carl Sharif, and he is the campaign manager for Shavar Jeffries. I don't see how else, how plain I could put it. That's as plain as black and white.
Amen.
I mean, if you want it to be something else, maybe we can make it something else. But this is what it is.
When it's in writing, it makes a difference. I'm sorry, one question at a time. Naomi, next, how did you come to find out about this development?
Well, we were the victims. So the prosecutor's office has the obligation to contact the victims when they come and find the perpetrator. So when they found the perpetrator, they met with us and told us who the victims were. They showed us pictures of the victims, the suspects, the perpetrators. They showed us pictures of the perpetrators. One picture I didn't know, and the other one I could identify plainly. And the one that I could identify was Sharif Nash. He was the driver of the van. And if he's driving the van, then I don't see why the prosecutor's office is not charging him with a conspiracy to commit arson.
Right.
Next question?
Let me go back to the question I asked. Like the answer we were talking about Mr. Nash, but let me rephrase the question. Was Mr. Jeffries, to your knowledge, aware of these events before they happened, or had any effect to come forward?
I should hope not. Let me say that. I should hope not. There is no evidence, of course, that he knows anything about what happened. But the folks that did that are in his campaign. So we are asking that he comes out immediately and admonish them because he is an assistant to the Assistant Attorney General. And about ethics and integrity in the campaign. He should admonish them and call for justice. He should call for their arrest. They put Newark residents' lives at danger. And this whole campaign around public safety, he should call for the immediate arrest of those folks involved, from the perpetrator himself to Sharif Nash, who was caught driving the van, and anybody else that's affiliated with it in any kind of way. He should bring them to justice and publicly say that he disassociates himself from any of them and their actions.
Are there any more questions?
Mr. Baraka, how rough is this campaign going to get?
Well, we're not making it rough, right? So we're campaigning. We've been campaigning for a year. We didn't respond to the bombing of our bus. We didn't respond to the police officer Keith Salters falsely arresting one of our campaign workers for putting up signs. We have not responded to the constant talk and harassment that we've been getting over and over again, the lies that they've been putting out about me. We're not responding to that. What we are doing is running our campaign and sticking to our issues and saying what the people of Newark needs. And I think it's frustrating a few people. What I'm really saddened about is because I honestly thought that the folks that were responsible for the bus came from another faction in this city. And to see that it comes directly from the Jeffries campaign under the tutelage of Carl Sharif is really disheartening and saddening to me.
Wow. Are there any more questions? If at this time we're going to have the cameras take pictures of the bus, I know that you wanted to do, and if you've not received a copy, I'm sorry, Neil, please.
How much money was the bus able to be repaired? How much damages?
Well, the bus is we driving it, right? So we're moving on it. And by the grace of God, we was able to, the county dropped the tank, so the sugar was put in the tank. A couple of seats were set on fire, so we're still using it. It's not the way it was when we first got it, but we're still using it. We don't have any money to put in it, so we have to drive it the way it is, right? So, but the real damage is the damage to the reputation of the residents of this town, damage to the morale of Newarkers and campaign workers, and the possible damage it could have caused to the residents in this building here. When you throw gasoline on a bus, you're not sure what could possibly happen. If the bus would have exploded, then you put people's lives in danger, which is why a few people should be arrested and brought to justice behind this. A few people.
Are there any more questions? Are there any other members of the press that have questions? Okay, if not, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make sure you get a copy of